Hi, my name is Hamid. I'm instructor at ASM Educational Center. Our website is www.asmed.com. You're looking in Rockford, Maryland. Our phone number is 301-984-7400. Today I'm going to talk about Call Manage Express. What that means, we're going to create this diagram in the packet tracer. That means we're going to have a switch here. I'm going to connect a IP phone to this switch via cable. From here, then I'm going to connect a PC to this switch. Then I'm going to have another IP phone here, a PC one here, connect to the switch. Then we're going to connect to the router, and this link is going to be a trunk. The idea is this can be two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is going to make sure that this PC get IP address from this switch, and also this PC get IP address from this router via DHCP server, and this phone is going to get IP address from this router too. So in order to do that, what we have to do, we have to set up this diagram. Then we have to create a bunch of VLAN. So on this switch, I'm going to create a VLAN 40, 41, 45. VLAN 40 is going to be data VLAN, VLAN 41 is going to be management VLAN, and VLAN 45 is going to be data VLAN. So let's begin by creating this diagram from scratch. So I'm going to open up my packet tracer. I'm going to put it on the switch. I'm going to bring this 3560 switch right here. Okay. I'm going to bring a PC here, PC 0. I'm going to put another PC here. Okay. Then I'm going to click on the device and device. Then I'm going to bring IP phone here, one of these IP phone right here. Okay. So that's one IP phone. Then I'm going to bring another IP phone here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect it. Then I'm going to bring a router here. I click on router and I bring let's say 2811 router here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect a cable. I click the cable here. I'm going to use a straight through cable. Now look at this. From the PC, from the backup PC, I'm going to connect to the what? Phone. Now it's two parts, switch and PC. So here we connect to the what? PC. Okay. Then I'm going to take a cable again. I'm going to connect from back of this IP phone, which switch to this switch. Now I'm not going to use F01 because F01 later on is going to be used for trunking. So I'm going to use F02. Now what's going to happen in real life, this switch has to be PoE switch. So that whenever I connect that, this phone will get power from that. PoE means what? Power or Ethernet. That means instead of buying block of the power, I'm going to get power from this guy. Then I'm going to connect another cable from the PC. From here to back of that, again back of PC, you're going to see two port, one switch, one's a PC. I'm going to connect to PC. Then I'm going to connect another cable from here, from switch to another port, F03. Okay. Then I'm going to connect a cable from straight through cable from F01 to let's say F00. Okay. Then I'm going to label this. This is going to be trunk link. Then I'm going to talk about why this is trunk link. And this port is F0 size 0. Okay. So that's what we have in our diagram right now. Okay. That's what we have. We have a phone connect to the PC connect to the phone, connect to here, PC connect to this phone, connect to that one, and then from F01 connect to the router. So what we're going to do, I'm going to create a what? VLAN. But before you create VLAN, let's look at the switch. Let's see what we have in our diagram. So I'm going to double click the switch. Go to CLI, press enter, enable. Let's give a name first. Config T, host name, SW1, no IP domain dash lookup. Now what I do that because in case I miss it, if I type in like CCNA, it doesn't waste my time to look for DNS. Okay. Now if I say show VLAN brief, I see I have what? My what? Default VLAN. Okay. So I'm going to create a 3 VLAN. As I say in my notes, I'm going to create 3 VLAN. The 3 VLAN, one is going to be VLAN 40, which is going to be named data right here. VLAN 41, name management, and VLAN 45 as a voice. We've done this how to create a VLAN, but I'm going to do it one more time. But again, if you need to watch that, make sure you watch my other video how to create VLAN. So I go back to the switch, config T, VLAN, question mark. The first number is going to be what? 40. Okay, I'm going to give name, and this one I'm going to call what? Data. Okay, then I'm typing VLAN. I don't have to exit, I can type here VLAN 41, enter, name, this one management, for management, then VLAN what? 45, name, voice. Okay, Control Z, show VLAN brief. See, I have a 3 VLAN right now. Okay, so that's what I did in my notes right now. Okay, I have 3 VLAN. Now we're going to assign the port, but you got to be careful. We need to assign port F024 to VLAN, both voice and data VLAN. Note, do not include F01 since it's connected to router and it has to be what? Trunk. So what I have to do, I have to make sure assign my port to this VLAN. So I'm not going to touch F01. Don't touch F01. Why is that? Because when I look at the diagram, because F01 has to be what? Trunk port. Okay, so I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to say config T int. Remember, we can use range F0/2 dash what? 24. Okay, I'm going to say switch port. Okay, now this is for what? Data VLAN, question mark. Remember that we're going to focus on these two, mode and access. Okay, so let's do mode first, question mark, access, enter. Then I'm going to say switch port, question mark. Now I'm going to focus on what? Access. So I type in access here, question mark, VLAN. And for data, I want to have what VLAN? VLAN number what? As we said that VLAN what? 40. So I'm going to do VLAN what? 40. Okay. So we're going to say show VLAN brief. Okay. I see all of my what? Right here. All of my ports on what? Data VLAN. Okay. So that's what I did my notes. I do all of that. VLAN 40, right? Okay. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put what? All these ports also in a what? Voice VLAN. Again, the whole idea is we want to make sure that the data VLAN and voice VLAN are separated. Okay, that's very important. So I'll go back to here again. Config T int range F0/2-24. Now watch this. When I say switch port question mark, now you're going to use the word what? Voice question mark. Then you can say VLAN question mark. Now what number? I want to use what? Voice, which is what? 45. Okay, 45. Enter. Now look what happened. When I say show VLAN brief, unfortunately the packet tracer does not show that. All this port, you gotta be careful, all this port, it is in front of what? Voice VLAN. In the real equipment, you're gonna see like that. So when I go to my notes, it's gonna be like this. Okay, it's gonna be like that. These ports is gonna be on what? F0 to 24 for data VLAN, and again 20 to 24 is gonna be for voice VLAN. Unfortunately, packet tracer does not show that, but that's how it's gonna happen. Okay, so I've done this. Now, as I said, a packet tracer does not display port of voice VLAN. However, it is function. Okay. Now, if I type in show run, you can see show run right here. See that? F02 is on what? Data VLAN and voice VLAN. F03 is on what? Data VLAN and what? Voice VLAN, so on. F04 is what? In data VLAN and what? Voice VLAN, so on. So if I go back to my switch, I see that show run. Everything right here. See that? F03 is on data VLAN and also voice VLAN. F04 is data VLAN and what? Voice VLAN, and so on. Okay, except F01 is nothing there, because remember this has to be what? Trunk port. Okay, so I've done that part right now so far. Okay, so this all show VLAN, and remember all these nodes is going to be on our website. So later on you're going to see this on our website too. Okay, now we're going to do what? trunk port. Since traffic from multiple VLANs are carried to the router, we need to make sure that link exists in that has to be what? Trunk port. Because if you look at the diagram, all these VLAN has to travel through here. It goes to router and comes back. So this link has to be what? Trunk port. So what I'm going to do, first I say show int trunk. There's no trunk yet. So what I'm going to say, config t int f/ what? 1. Don't forget that. Switch port question mark. Now I gotta focus my eyes on mode and what? Trunk. Now here I want to show you some mistake, which is very important to know that. I said mode question mark, then I put what? Trunk question mark enter. Now look what happened when I do that. It said rejected. Why? Because I have to do what? Encapsulation. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say that switch port question mark, first to the trunk first. Trunk question mark, then what do you need? Encapsulation question mark, then I need what? .1q .1q question mark enter, then make sure you use upper key, switch mode trunk. So Control Z, show run. You look at under F01 right here. So this is, make sure that this is a what? Trunk is, okay? This is very important. Remember that if you get an error, like what we got an error here, let me show you that this again. Somewhere it was rejected right here. See, when it says rejected, you have to do what? You have to do int f01. First you gotta do switch mode trunk. I'm sorry, you gotta do this one, switch port trunk encapsulation and so on. Okay, now if I say show int trunk, I don't see nothing there. Why not? Look at the diagram. Router 1, I mean this router connectivity is shut down, so I'm going to go back to here, go to CLI, just say no, enable, config T, let's give a host name R1, no IP domain dash lookup. If I say show IP int brief, see that? All my ports are what? Shutdown ports. So I'm going to give no shut right here. So I'm going to say config T int f/0. Why f00? Because oops, because that's what I'm connected to my f00 right here. Okay. No what? Shut. Control Z, upper key. Now this is up. Now go back to my switch. Now I'm going to make sure that I have a trunk. Okay, now I have a trunk. So life is good so far. Okay, so what we did here, we created VLAN, data VLAN, management VLAN, and voice VLAN. Then we make these guys what? Trunk. That's what we did in my notes right here. Okay, so we did everything here, and I have a trunk here right now. Okay, the next thing you want to do, I want to configure my router. So what I have to do, I'm going to create a what? A sub interface. That's very important. Remember the last video we talked about router on stick. Router on stick means what? Right here in this diagram, we have a switch and the router. Because see, you gotta understand, these PC, they need a what? A default gateway. These what do you call it? This phone, they need a what? IP address and default gateway. So where they get their things, they're going to get it from what? Right here. So these, because I cannot put my what? I cannot put every IP address on this because I have a physical interface. So I have to create what? A sub interface. So what I have to do, I have to have what? A default gateway. So I have to use a sub interface. So that's why I say in my notes. Look at here. We have a multiple VLAN traffic destined to the router, default gateway, being carried over trunk interface. We need to support what? Multiple default gateway, but only we have one interface. The solution here is use what? A sub interface. And this concept is called what? Router on stick. Hint, don't forget that. IP addresses are assigned on the sub interface, not on physical. So we're going to give a sub. Now look what happened. I said int f00.40. Why is it .40? Is recommended to match with your VLAN number because I want to for data VLAN or use .40. Okay. Then I say description, default gateway data VLAN 40, encapsulation .1q 40. Now this is very important. This 40 better match with my VLAN 40. Now this is going to be what? IP address of the what? 1040.01. So that means when I finish my work, this guy's IP address here, the default gateway is going to be equal what? 10.40.0.1. okay, and the IP address, oops, sorry about that. So this PC IP address, let's press enter, is going to be 10.40.0. something x. I don't know what's going to be because we're going to get from DHCP 255.255.0. okay, and the default gateway is going to be 10.40.0.1. That's my default gateway here. Let's put this center. Okay, I'm going to copy this, Control C, same as for what? These people here. Okay, so you want to have this default gateway for here. I'm going to have what? 10.45.0.x. That's for phone is going to be with 255.255.255.0, and default gateway is going to be 10.45.0.1. That's going to be default gateway for what? For phone. So this is for phone is, okay? All right. So what we have to do again, we have to create what? Sub interface. So I'll go back to my router. We'll talk like this: config t intf00 dot what number? 40. Okay, because I want to match with what? VLAN 40. Let me write down here. Remember that? Data VLAN 40. Voice VLAN was what? 50. Okay, and data VLAN, the IP is going to be 10.40.0.x, whatever number is, and this one is going to be what? 10.40. Sorry, 10.45.0.x. all right, so back to here. Now the best way to do with description, this will act as default gateway for the data VLAN, which is going to be what? 10.40.0.1. okay, then what you need what? Encapsulation question mark .1q question mark. Now this is very important. The VLAN ID has to match on my what? This VLAN. So it's better to be what? VLAN what? 40. Be careful that, okay? So VLAN what? 40. Okay? Then you need what? IP address 10.40.0.1 with 255.255.255.0. I gotta do same thing. Exit. I do same thing. Sorry, exit. I do same thing for what? The other one. So I'm going to say intf00.45. Okay. Operator key. This could be what? Description. This will act as the what? Default gateway for what? For voice. This is for our voices with 10.45.0.1. okay. Then I'm going to operator key. I need what? Encapsulation 45. Then I need what? IP address 10.45.0.1 with 255.255.255.0. okay. So now also I can do same thing for what? Management VLAN. Config t intf00 dot the management VLAN. I didn't write down here. Let me write down here. Oops, sorry. The management VLAN is 45. So the IP is going to be 10.45.0.1. okay. So that's why I'm going to do. I do this. This is for what? For data VLAN. I do same thing, right? Then I do for what? Management. Okay. Okay. This is. I'm sorry. This is the management VLAN right here. This is data VLAN, and then I gotta do same thing for voice VLAN. So let's go back to here. int 40 for the management VLAN was, what number was 45. Then I use operating description. This will act as a what? Default gateway for management VLAN. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Config T int f00.41 because management is f41 is int f0 size 0.41. My mistake. Okay, so this is gonna be what? 41, and this will be management. Okay, then I need what? Encapsulation question mark dot 1q question. Always use a what? Question mark, which is 41. IP address 10.41.0.1 with 255.255.255.0. Okay, let's check the work. Show run. Okay, here's the key. Remember from router stick, you never give IPS to a physical interface. This is 40. That's for what? Data VLAN. This is 41. That's for what? Management VLAN. And this is 45. That's for what? Voice VLAN. Again, 40, 41, 45. 10.40, 10.41, 10.45. Okay. So if I say show IP int brief, I will see that 40 is a voice. I'm sorry, data. 41 management and 45. Okay. So right now we've done everything. Okay. And I put it here. Note, IP address you don't give it to physical interface. This ID has to match. This number can be any number, but for simplicity we use .40 to match what? 40. 41 for management and 41. This has to match, and these act like a default gateway. Okay. So here's my show IP and debrief. We see it right here. Also, if I go router 1, say show IP route, you're gonna see what? Same thing again. Let me just go router 1. Again, look at this. I have 1, 2, 3 interface. So if I do show IP route, I should see what? 3 connected. C means what? Connect. This is network 40. Connect to this one. Network 41. Connect to that sub interface and 45. Okay. So far we are good to go. All right. Now what do we have to do? Here's the key part. We have to configure DHCP on the router. Remember that on the diagram. In my diagram, the router has to give IP address to what? To this guys, and has to give IP address to the phone. Now here the key is, whenever you create an IP address, you want to use a DHCP server. There's a 2-part. You have to exclude, then you have to create a scope. So which one you want to exclude? I want to exclude what? 10.40.0.1, and also what? For the voice, this can be 10.45. Okay. So that's why I did my notes. So hint, always start with the what? IP DHCP question mark. So you use IP DHCP question mark. Then you're going to see the exclude address. Oops, sorry about that. You see exclude address, then you say pool. Okay. So I'm going to do exclude address 10.40.0.1, then up to 10. That's what I did. No big deal. Okay. Then I say IP DHCP question mark. Then I'm going to use the word pool. I'm going to give data pool. So let's do step by step. So I'm going to say config T IP DHCP question mark. Again, you want to exclude address and pool. I'm going to say exclude address question mark 10 dot what? I did which one first? Let me see my notes. I did 40. That's data. 10.40.0.1 with 10.40.0.10. That means from 1 to 10 I don't give it out. Okay, that's step 1. Then I'm going to say IP DHCP question mark. Then I'm going to say what? Pool question mark. I give some name. Okay, what's the name is? Here's the name. Data pool. Now when I put a question mark, here's what you have to be careful. You have to give a default router. You have to define your network, okay? And then option. This option I've seen a lot of people, they use it for both data and voice, but I highly recommend just use it only for voice. This option 150, that's going to point to your call manage express. We will see that later on, okay? But let's do first what? Network. Because this is data, VLAN is network. It's going to be network 10.40.0.0 question mark. I need 255.255.255.0 network 10.40.0. Oops, sorry. Then I need what? Default router right here. I'm going to put default router question mark 10.40.0.1. okay, that's it. I can say option blah blah blah, but I'm not going to. You don't need that too. Okay, Control Z. Let's look at the show run. So this is for what? Data. Again, two part. First you have to exclude, then you have to do that. The next thing I want to do for what? Voice. Config T. IP DHCP. Remember, you always say IP DHCP question mark. What do you need? Exclude address. Exclude address question mark 10.45.0.1 because that's the one we're working on it. Remember, it's 45 here. 45, okay. Then 10.45.0. Let's say 10. Then that's exclude. Now I'm going to say IP DHCP question mark. I gotta give the word what? Pool. Pool question mark. Now I'm going to use what? Voice pool. Enter. Now here when I put a question mark, you need default router. Default router, which will be 10.45.0.1. okay. Then I need what? Network 10.45.0.1. oops, sorry about that. With 255.255.255.0. then I need what? Option question mark. I need what? This will be option 150. That's point to your call manage express IP question mark. Now IP address. Now which IP address do I use? It does not matter. You can use any of the what? Any of, let me show you that. Any of these IP address you use, any of these IP address in your router would use. Even if you have a loopback address, if you have loopback address, you could use that too, okay? So in my notes, let's go back to my notes. I use what? 10.40.0.1. It doesn't matter. Because notice that if I look at my router, 10.40.0 is like a voice system. Any of these numbers I can use it as long as up is. So if you have a loopback address, you can use that one. So let's just use 10.40.0.1. I just want to show you that it will work. 10.40.0.1. okay, Control Z, show run. Again, watch. This is for what? 40 is for what? Data. This is 45 is for what? Voice. This is data pool. Network what? 40 here. This is default router. This is for voices. Voice. This is 45 and this. Now again, option 150. You gotta put only a voice. Some people they put it on the data 2 plan, which I've done my notes. It doesn't matter if you put it or not. So look at this in my notes. Okay. When I say show run in my notes, I put what? Option 150 on both of them. You don't have to do it. Okay. Now what are we going to do? Here comes the, you have to check. We want to make sure that these guys get IP address. Now if I go back to here, go back to desktop, go back to this, static, now I click DHCP. Now this guy should get what? If everything's working good, 40, that's good. Dot what? 11. Because remember we reserve from dot 1 to dot n. You got it, supplements, you got that. That's good. Let's go to this guy. Desktop. Click that. Click this. Let's see if we got it. Alright, that 12. That's good. So we are doing good, okay? The next thing I want to do, I want to move the mouse on here. Alright, I can see the mouse. Oops. You see it got what? If you move the mouse quick click, 45.13 and 45.0. And this one's got what? 45.12 and then dot what? 1. So that's good. Another way you can check your work, you can go to what? Test it. You can go to the router and show IP DHCP binding. You can see the your 40 represent to what? Data, and 45 represent what? For voice. Alright. So I'm going to go back to my router. Where is that? Right here. So I'm going to type in what command, what show IP DHCP what binding. See, 40, that's for my PC, 45 is for my what that. These are the MAC addresses of my PCs. So this IP has been what binded on DHCP. If I look at the PC1, let's go to PC1. I close that one. I go back to this. I type in ipconfig/all. Here's MAC of what PC1. See, 8317, and the IP address what 11. Okay. So if I go back to my router, see, 8317, that's that. Okay. So everything looks good. All right. Now if I go back to here, let's see if I can ping 10.40.0.1. Okay, I'm pinging my what? My DHCP server or default gateway, which is good. And then my IP is what? 40.11. The other one was 40.12, I think, right? So let's see if I can ping the other PC. Ping 10.40.0.11. That's myself. Okay. Hierarchy dot what 12. All right, good, it's working good. So that's the one right here, dot 12. Okay, oops, sorry about that. All right, let's see if I can ping my what phone. So right now I have connectivity from here to here. It goes through here to here. Now phone, you should be able to ping to. Oops, what is that? For phone will be what? Ping 10.45.0 dot, I can't remember my IP is for phone. Phone was what? 45.12. All right. Let's see if it's working. All right, it's not working, so that's not good. Oh, it's working. Takes time. So I use upper key. So awesome. Everything works fine. Okay. This concludes my training for this part. This will be part 1. Okay. So then after that, the second part, and these are the diagram. We took a screenshot. This is dot 11, and this is that, and this is the phone is. Okay. If I look at my phone, it shows configure IP address. Okay. The next part we're gonna talk about how we can make part 2. We're gonna make this act work as the call manager express. So this one is going to be CME, call manager express. Okay, in part 2. Okay, thanks so much for everything. Again, all of this is going to be our website. Our website is right here, www.asme.com. If you go here on blogs, you see CCNA, CCNP, CompTIA, all of that. Here, you click on the blog, CCNA blogs, then you're going to have everything here. Then if you click one of these, it's going to show you, for example, this multi-layer switch. We've done that. We're going to put all our notes there. Then everything's going to be here. Continue more. You're going to see everything what we did. But then we're going to have a video there. So make sure you check our blogs. Again, our website is www.asme.com. And our phone number is right here, 301-984-7400. Thanks so much. You have a good day. And again, come back for part 2 of this material because I want to make sure that it's 2-parted.